it's Claire from Clairified Creations, and welcome to a bake with me slash kind of job update. And I'm gonna fill you in on my first impressions of being an oncology nurse. And today I thought it would be kind of fun to bake together. We're gonna be making whoopie pies, and I have never made them before. So we'll just kind of see together if they turn out. My mom has made them probably a few times, and I always really like them. It's a consistency of a cake but shaped like a cookie with some filling in the middle, and I'm choosing to do a cream cheese filling. So it'll be chocolate whoopie pies with cream cheese in the middle. Today is currently Thursday and it's in the afternoon. You might be thinking, wait a second, aren't you supposed to be at work? Because I am a clinic nurse. I did have some computer modules to do this morning, so I got that done before 10 a.m. So I've kind of just been hanging out here, and I thought, you know what? We should bake something. So that's what we're doing. We've got, of course, a mess of all the ingredients. It did call for 1/4 of a cup of coffee, so I just made an espresso pod and stopped it there. The first thing we're gonna do is sift all the dry ingredients together. So it says to sift the cocoa powder, the flour, and the sugar, I believe. So let's go ahead and do that. Baking powder, baking soda, cocoa powder, and flour. Since step 1 is done, I thought it'd be a good time to start talking a little bit about being an oncology nurse. First impression I want to answer is it what I expected it to be? And the answer is no, it is not anything at all like I expected. If you're wondering, I am not chemo certified. I am not doing any type of chemo infusions. The only thing I can do as far as IB is, of course, start them and then give fluids. The first thing I want to address as far as oncology, when I started telling people that that's what I wanted to do, I always got just, oh, are you sure you shouldn't do that? Or I feel like it's such a negative thing that people kind of look at and think, why would you ever want to do that? It's so sad. If you all didn't know, my family has been personally affected by cancer. My grandfather had cancer several years back while I was in high school, and he is in remission now, thank goodness. But just seeing that kind of kick-started my journey into becoming an oncology nurse. It is something that I'm super passionate about, and I really feel like cancer patients have a very, very special place in my heart because I've seen that firsthand. And being on the other side of it, taking care of cancer patients, it is such an honor, you guys. And everybody that I talk to, when I tell them that that's what I do, they kind of just are like, why in the world? It's so sad. And so the first thing I want to kind of talk about is it really as sad as everybody thinks? Do you just go in depressed and leave depressed? I want to be really honest about it, and it is sad. But I want to say, with that being said, there is so much joy in taking care of this population. I really can't explain how truly thankful these people are. I mean, what we do to them is certainly not ideal or comfortable, or honestly, some of their treatments are pretty strenuous on the body and they're horrible. And yet I see all these patients come in every day because I am more on the radiation side of things. They come in with a smile. They come in thanking us for helping save their lives. And that's not something you really get everywhere in nursing. Not everybody is super grateful to be getting treatment. And with oncology, I have found that to be just almost all of them. Of course, there's gonna be exceptions, but almost everyone that I have encountered has been nothing but thankful to be getting treatment into starting their journey for the fight of their life. I do not ever walk into work being sad or upset at the start of my day, because you can kind of look at it two ways. You can look at it like, oh, such a depressing job. Everybody has cancer. They didn't do anything to deserve it. No one should get cancer, and then you have to walk in and help them. So that's one way to look at it. Or you can look at it by thinking, you know, every day is a gift and I get the opportunity to help these patients and help directly make an impact on their lives and their families. I just love oncology so much. I don't think you understand, in the short amount of time that I've been in it, I know without a doubt that this is where I want my career to be. So to answer that common kind of stigma around cancer, everybody thinks it's sad, but I feel like you should kind of give it a chance and be in the work environment, because you realize, although they're facing unimaginable challenges, there's also so much joy in celebrating the little victories. Not every cancer is incurable. There's so many cancers that are, and there are some that aren't too, but just having their joys, celebrating each little victory. When they're done with chemo, they get to ring the bell. When they're done with radiation, they also get to ring the bell. And that is so exciting. Every time I hear a bell ring, I just am so happy for them, because it's such a special time in their journey. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of nurses that kind of get immune to the bell ringing ceremony, and maybe it's just because I'm new that I feel so deeply and care so much for just that monumental victory, because I think about my family and my grandpa in particular. Every time I hear a bell ring, it just kind of reminds me of him, and just getting there, being able to celebrate that, it's truly just the best feeling ever. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit soppy thinking about it, because I already kind of have some attachments to some of the patients. Let's get back to baking, and I'll kind of answer a few more questions along the way. I whisked in the coffee, egg, milk, and then a little bit of lime, because it called for buttermilk and I didn't have any lemon. It just says to cream together the butter and the sugar. So I'm gonna take 1.5 sticks of pre-softened butter. And if you are wondering, I did pre-soften it in the microwave because I did not plan to make this until just a little bit ago. So we're gonna pop this into the mixing bowl. And it says just to cream it until it's, of course, creamy, and then I'll add in a cup of white granulated sugar. So put that in here. Let's get creaming. What the dough is currently looking like. Really not sure if this is correct. Looking very sticky and globby. While I'm scooping out the dough, I'm gonna answer kind of another question, or at least what I think would be questions for my new job. And it's, do you work with adults, kids? What kind of age range do you see? And the answer is, for age range, I actually am kind of fortunate to get to see all ages, which is really interesting from a learning standpoint, just as far as nursing goes, because obviously you have to adapt your principles if you're seeing, let's just say, a 1-year-old versus a 78-year-old. They're very different, of course, and I get to see both kids and adults. I will say, thankfully, kids are a little bit more rare, just as far as what our clinic specifically does. I always said that my absolute dream was to do, pediatric oncology, and I'm sort of doing that right now. I'm just doing kind of both, and we'll see what the future holds as far as what population I end up being fully immersed in. Another thing that I did not expect as far as impressions go with the job is just how invasive radiation is. I really did not know anything about radiation except for the fact that it had to deal with cancer and you got that treatment. That was pretty much the extent of it. And oh my goodness, you guys, some of the radiation treatments are so harsh. I did not know that there was such a thing as internal radiation. A lot of our patients will do external, but there are a select few, such as like cervical cancers or uterine cancers, that require internal, which is just so crazy to me how that technology works. I'm not gonna like share all the details of it because it might be kind of boring to some of you, but basically it's the same principle as external, but you have a device implanted into you and the radiation goes through this tiny little tube and connects to that device, and that's how they get their radiation treatments. So candidates that do internal also, I'm pretty sure, always have to do external as well. And the internal radiation is typically done towards the end of their treatment, so after chemo, after external, and then they'll move towards the internal as a final last bout before they're done with their treatments. So that's something I didn't expect to see or kind of assist with. We do some procedures that involve that, and some of them I had no idea, but you actually have to go to the operating room to get those devices planted into you to receive that radiation. Another thing I didn't really think about is with certain cases, so typically if we have a kid, they will get sedation if they're really young and aren't able to sit still, or if there's a patient that has any type of trauma or PTSD that just don't really like being confined to a tube and getting radiation done, they will get sedated as well. And I didn't know that part of our job as the nurse is to kind of help them recover from sedation. It's just something I never really thought about, which I think is very interesting to get them to wake up and just that whole process. So you really get to see with those specific patients, you get to see their whole journey. So you get to check them in, get their vitals, and then they get put to sleep. You watch their radiation treatment, bring them back to the room, and recover them. It's a very good way to get to know your patients. That and procedures, I think, so far have been really good, because something that I really like to do with those types of patients is to just talk to them, because everyone has a story, and just kind of getting to know them outside of their cancer, I think is so sweet and such an honor to do. I was talking to one of them and just hearing about their life, and ask, do you have kids? Because if you think about it, that's someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's aunt, uncle. They all have lives too, and family members that care about them and are scared. And I really like the fact that I have so much time to just talk to them and get to know them. It's very interesting because when you recover them from anesthesia, you have at the bare minimum 30 minutes. And if they're a pediatric patient, you are obviously not talking to the kid because they're asleep and currently trying to wake up. You talk to their parents and you just get to know what their lives are like. That is something that I definitely did not get a ton of in my last job, just because we were an outpatient pediatric center where the appointments could be as quick as 10 minutes or they could be 2 hours depending on wait times. But typically our goal was to get them in and out as fast and efficient and done right as possible. So there was not a lot of time to just talk to them. And that's something that I think I'm really enjoying, is getting to know people. Another thing I didn't really know about radiation is that they come in every single day. And I'm not kidding, Monday through Friday, they are there, usually at the same time, because most of those patients want a routine to follow and they have routines. And it's so crazy because with being, say, just any other type of nurse, any outpatient center, you might see one once and then you'll go another couple months before getting to see them. I did not do a very good job spacing that. I should probably put another row, but I'll just wait till the next batch. We're gonna pop these in the oven at 375 degrees for 9 minutes and we'll see. And since we're very real on this channel, this is the mess that I made from making everything. It's not too bad over here, but man, you can kind of tell I sort of spilled some things when I was doing the mixing process. This batch looks a little bit better than this one. This was the bottom rack. Since I am that baker that has to taste every step, we're gonna do a little taste test already. Gonna see what these taste like, kind of see. I'm a little bit concerned they're gonna be dry, but I don't know. Here's what they look like from the inside. Okay, they do look a little bit dry. Let's try it, you guys. Hopefully once I make the filling, it'll just taste a lot better and make it not so dry, because it's definitely not anything Iron Chef worthy, that is for sure. It's time to make the frosting, and I've just put in a few ingredients here. A block of cream cheese, a fourth of a stick, I think it's a fourth, yeah. Fourth cup of butter, and some vanilla bean paste, which is the secret. Vanilla bean paste makes everything taste, I think, a little bit more elevated. We're gonna whip this up for 2 minutes and then add 2 cups of powdered sugar. Whipped frosting. Okay, let's assemble this together. I've got just a regular tablespoon that I'm gonna spread onto the cookies and just dollop it on there. See, I don't know exactly how much I should do. I'm doing about a very heaping tablespoon. This is what it looks like. I feel like that these kind of came out way too big and they should be much more flattened. First try for everything. I know for next time, I don't know if I was supposed to chill it in the fridge or something to make them a little bit more, just not so round. Interesting though, they look like a miniature mountain. Oh Lord. My job, I am really enjoying it so far. I definitely feel like I have so much to learn and not enough time to learn it because my orientation only lasts for so long. I have 8 weeks, but technically, even with all my training, I'm on week 3 and I do not feel like I should be on week 3 already. That is okay though. We'll just kind of take it one day at a time. So let's just continue this up and we will do a taste test at the end. Let's try it together. Now I do have just a half a whoopie pie because I had an uneven amount and I really don't need another whole one right now. Should save it for after dinner. Let's go ahead and take a bite together. It is still just a touch dry, but so much better with the cream cheese filling. I actually think it's perfect now. The chocolate does shine through. The coffee, I can taste it. It is actually really, really good now. I was kind of worried earlier. Let's get another bite of the frosting with it. I would rate this probably solid 8 out of 10. The frosting is just enough sweetness to kind of cut through because the chocolate itself isn't too sweet. So a good combination. I actually would recommend trying this. I think it would be better with the buttermilk like the recipe had said and not messing up the baking. I had a little bit of problem where I thought I started my phone timer, but then I realized I didn't. So I kind of had to guess with how long they had been in the oven, and I guesstimated 5 minutes, so I could have overcooked them as well. So I really am not super sure. They're looking a little bit messy, I'll be honest. You can definitely tell I'm a beginning baker. And I see I got some filling on top of it. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in the fridge before they full on melt on me. Thank you all so much for watching. And let me know if you try this recipe as well. Comment down below, what is your favorite dessert? If you made it this far, I would love to know. I personally love white chocolate raspberry, anything chocolate, or cheesecake. Those are my probably top 3.